Good morning and welcome everybody. Thank you very much for registering for today's masterclass, all about creating a hotel of the future through technology innovations. My guests today are both experts in hospitality technology, so we're in for a good session. It's 10:30 a.m. It's Wednesday, the 27th of September. And the conference season is well and truly ramping up for hospitality. So hopefully we will all be together in person in events in the coming weeks. My name is Jane Pendlebury. I am the CEO of HOSPA, the Hospitality Professionals Association. We're due to be live with you today for around 30 to 40 minutes, including time for questions at the end. I'm delighted today to be joined by Miguel from the beautiful and iconic Royal Garden Hotel and Rob from Ruckus. Ruckus are one of our key sponsors, both over the course of the year and at our annual conference, HOSPACE, which is in November. So we very much appreciate their involvement, support and expertise. Please do, as I say, ask questions throughout using the Q&A option at the bottom of your screen. If they're appropriate, we'll interrupt the speakers and interject, or otherwise we'll pick them all up at the end. If there's not enough time to answer all the queries, we will get back to you afterwards. There will be a recording of this and a summary of the key points that should be available on the website as soon as we can, but certainly within the next week or so. Thank you for joining us, and we're going to be discussing the impact of technology on operational efficiencies in hotels now and in the future. So first of all, first things first, let me introduce you to our panelists. Rob, will you quickly say who you are, what you do, and in a nutshell, what Ruckus does?
Yeah, thanks, Jane, and thanks for having us. We really appreciate the time to come and talk on this webinar. So I'm Rob Sargent, as Jane said. I work for the Ruckus hospitality team in the UK and Ireland. That's part of a much larger hospitality team that's global. My focus really is on growing our business within this space, within hospitality. I work closely with that global team on the strategy and the go-to-market. So yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell and what I do. That obviously involves working really closely with a lot of our end user customers and our partners as well.
Brilliant.
And then Ruckus in a nutshell. I could do the long version, but I'll do the short version. So we're essentially Ruckus Networks. We're a communications vendor. We design and manufacture a range of networking solutions. And often they're tailored for specific verticals like hospitality. We've got an advanced Wi-Fi solution along with switching. We've got an ever-growing software stack that really delivers a range of services, including IoT, onboarding, AI-driven analytics. And like I say, Ruckus, we've really had a huge focus from day dot on the hospitality market. We continue to innovate and develop solutions for this specific market. Our business will create products specifically for this space in order to meet the ever-changing demands of hotels and the guests that spend time in them.
Fantastic, thank you. Miguel, would you just like to introduce yourself and your place of work?
Of course, Jane. Hello, everyone. My name is Miguel. I'm the IT systems manager for the Royal Garden Hotel in London. I deal with all systems from networking, TVs, telephony, and F&B outlets. We also have integrated with the IT technology, the fire alarm system and our door locks as well. So I kind of manage everything from the back end in terms of the connection of all these different devices on the infrastructure.
It never ceases to amaze me how much the IT manager has to look after these days. It's no longer running around fixing printers, is it? Much bigger, much more commercial role.
True.
Would you like to expand, Miguel, a little bit more on your recent project that you've done in conjunction with Ruckus at the Royal Garden, and how all the innovations that you've put in are helping you keep one step ahead, because you certainly are one step closer to being the hotel of the future. Can you just talk us through that project a little bit? And Rob, if you want to interject, then please do.
Of course. So we partnered with Ruckus to uplift and renovate our entire IT infrastructure. So from our fiber connections to our switches, to the Wi-Fi, and kind of the Internet of Things, meaning that with Ruckus, it enabled us to integrate all the new technology that we want to introduce, and we have introduced in the meantime while this upgrade was running. So some of the things that we introduced that we didn't have before was, for example, smart TVs with Chromecast capability. So with our previous infrastructure, this was not possible due to the age of the Wi-Fi access points. But with the new access points provided by Ruckus, we were able to introduce Chromecast for device screening to our guest TVs. This also enabled us to provide a new feature, a new service to the guest that was highly demanded before, and we couldn't really provide that apart from removing the TV from the wall, plugging in an HDMI cable in the back, and kind of have that workaround, which was not ideal. Nowadays, we can do it all wirelessly, so no wires, no mess in the rooms. Guests are much happier with that. We also in the rooms introduced a new smart AC system, also connected to the Wi-Fi, that allows us to have more energy efficiency in terms of when the guest checks out or when the guest even leaves the room. There's a sensor on that controller that is connected to the Wi-Fi, will then put the room in kind of a sleep mode, still having the fan on and etc., but on the low setting, so we can save energy and also dims the lights or actually switch them on depending on the time of the day. We are also rolling out new door locks for all our bedroom doors. These will be also integrated and connected to the Wi-Fi, and this will enable the security team to remotely unlock or lock doors if we need to. In case of an emergency, for example, if someone does lock the door from the inside, we can remotely unlock that door, which is a very good security and safety feature that we have in case of an emergency like a fire or an evacuation. In terms of the F&B system, we recently introduced tablets to take the orders from the tables on the spot. So we no longer have to take the pen and paper and go back to the till in the back office, take the order and go back to the guest. So we can, with the new Wi-Fi, we are able to have these tablets connected directly with the network, and place the order on the table is sent to the kitchen directly through the network to the printers. And even before, let's say, the waiter or the waitress is out of the table, maybe the starts are already coming, so that is, again, very time efficient, much better service for the guests in terms of what we can offer in our 3 outlets that we have. We also enable with the Wi-Fi to be able to have dedicated SSIDs for our conferencing events. So if you are hosting an event here with us, we can have your own private Wi-Fi SSID, which you can then request different speeds. You can request a password, no password. The Ruckus software also creates a QR code that you can then print out and give it to all the guests, or they can put it on, let's say, on the check-in desk, and they can just scan that code and connect to the event's Wi-Fi. So I think this really is preparing us for the future. We are now looking, and we are partnering with a new company to enable us to do remote check-ins. So not only remote check-ins as in you can check in from home before you reach the hotel, but you can also check in the bedroom. So if we have a guest in the bedroom, we can take one of our tablets and check in the room, check in the guest directly in their rooms. So no more queues at reception. We are 400 bedrooms, so 394 bedrooms. It comes to times that we do have large events hosting here, and we might have queues at reception, and this will kind of eliminate that feature. So it really prepares the hotel for what's coming in terms of technology. We've also had some demos of tablets in the rooms for guests to be able to order food or order spa treatment directly from the room. We are still looking into see if we will implement that, but at the moment it's just an idea. but it's just incredible how just by upgrading the infrastructure, it just unlock so many features and so many possibilities to our hotel.
Incredible. I mean, everything you said there is what so many people are talking about, but you've actually delivered it. So that's very impressive. Rob, you must be very proud of this installation from a Ruckus perspective.
Yeah, it's great because when Miguel and I first met, must have been 18 months ago or something like that. It was right in the difficult, challenging periods of shutdowns and supply issues. So we certainly went through our few challenges. But the first thing we talked about was, you know, not just about Wi-Fi connectivity for guests, which is of course really important, but we talked about all this great technology that a good network enables. You know, it enables that digital transformation for hotels and other organizations. And that's what, you know, we really liked sort of dealing with Miguel and Royal Garden, because they weren't just talking about the, you know, Wi-Fi connectivity and switching. It was about, yeah, that's great. We're going to get that. We understand that. But how can we utilize that to make the hotel more operationally efficient? How can we actually improve guest experience? How can we reduce costs? How can we get more people in the new restaurant and into the bar and aware of events that we're doing? And that's really what we strive to achieve. And I think you know, it's still some of the stuff still ongoing. Some of the energy management stuff and things you're doing with the casting solutions done, as you mentioned. And yeah, it's great. It's great to see, and it's it's something that we can absolutely replicate across any property, whether it's a sort of a mid-range luxury property or a more budget entry-level property.
And this wasn't one of the questions I was due to ask you actually, but it just crossed my mind. The Royal Garden's not a new build; it's been around quite a long time. What physically actually getting the infrastructure in place? Was it particularly complicated? Does it really not make an awful lot of difference now because of how the technology is working? It's not like running cables in the old days.
No, of course. No, I think we are. I think the last upgrade we had in terms of network infrastructure was back in 2010. So I think we did have our challenges. We do have very good risers that go from -3 to our 10th floor. So to pass the fiber cabling was kind of straightforward. It was more to see the connections to the bedrooms. We did had some bedrooms that had the cables were degraded, so we're not getting, let's say, the full capacity out of the Wi-Fi access point. So there was some recabling that had to be done in some rooms, but I would say 90% of the rooms was very straightforward. It was more to remove all the equipment and to get the new one that was more challenging, to be honest. But I think now we are going to start part 2 of our refurbishment in the next year. So that will be another challenge, but I think that it was very straightforward in terms of what the equipment was and how to get it installed. We just had to do fiber connections from our main IT server room to all the different rooms. We did upgrade to 10 gigabit fiber connections, so we are ready for the future, really. And then it was just from floor to floor having those connections done and to each bedroom. We did opted, because of our infrastructure, we did opted for access points on every other room, so we don't have an access point in every room, but that was thoroughly surveyed and tested before we knew that was the right solution. And it's been working great. We also have Wi-Fi's in our public areas, in our restaurants, in our conference and events areas. We have one of our rooms can host more than 250 people. So that room alone is very important to us. We sell it for weddings, for conferencing, for event showcases. So that's a very important room of us. And we did opted for the best available APs that Ruckus can provide to those conferencing rooms. And yeah, we can provide speeds up to 1 gigabit of internet speed to devices, which is great. In this day and age, people want faster and more reliable internet, and this is what we try to deliver in partnership with the equipment that we got from Ruckus.
That does actually bring me on nicely to one of the questions that we've got here, which is about are the guests actually embracing all this technology? Are your guests really taking advantage of it, and are the majority really using it?
Yes, we have the Ruckus Analytics that allows us to see what the guests are doing, not in much detail in terms of what the guests are doing on their devices, but for how long they are connected, from which areas they are moving from. So we can see that the device that has been connected to this room actually went to the 10th floor restaurant, and then he had breakfast in our ground floor restaurant. So we can see where the devices are going through and where they are in different times of the day, which is great for analytics. For our marketing team, it's great. We are still working on capitalizing from this analytics between, I think, Earl and my marketing team. So Earl from Ruckus and my marketing team, they are working on something together to kind of push content to the guest devices in terms of, okay, I can see that you visit our restaurants. Do you know that we have a bar? And kind of send them a message or a kind of a leaflet onto their computer, onto their laptops or onto their devices to say, you have a complimentary drink at our bar today. If I'm not mistaken, this is something that you can do, correct, Rob?
Absolutely, yeah, you certainly can.
Yeah. So we are doing that. We can also see that guests are using the Chromecast devices because we can see when the connections are done between their devices and the Chromecast. So we definitely see the guests using the device, using the technology that we have implemented. And again, conferencing and events is a very strong point in our hotel. And they do request, they had requested this in the past in terms of, can I have my dedicated internet? You know, we want to connect printers, we want to set up an office, you know, in one of your conferencing rooms. Is this possible? And now it is. So we can have wireless printers, wireless computers connected to the Wi-Fi, and all talking to each other on their own network. So separate from the hotel, separate from the admin side of it, separate from the F&B systems. They will have their own network, kind of as they were in their office, really. So we can enable that whenever we have that request from the guests, which is great. So they don't have to have wires everywhere to connect printers or a printer to each computer. So if they bring a let's say a big copier, we can just, if it has Wi-Fi capability, we connect to their SSID that they have requested before. We connect all laptops or all computers that they have to the same SSID, and then they can all print to the same printer. So this is, it sounds like a small thing, but believe me, when you have a conference that they bring 20 computers and everyone wants to print, and they're going to be having a webinar, or they're going to have actually hosting their new products, and they want to just print things or leaflets or something, they can all do to the same printer. Before, I remember, because I've been here almost 5 years now at the Royal Garden Hotel, and before this I could see the guests running around with USB sticks from computer to computer to kind of then go to the printers and have this done. But now we can do it a different way. So no wires, no devices, just Wi-Fi.
The majority of people listening today are IT technology related people, but I'm just thinking a few things you said there are a marketer's dream, aren't they? Especially,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
we can see you in our bar. Here's an offer for the restaurant or whatever. We should have marketed this as a marketing, not as a technology, because I bet that would have worked well for Ruckus as well. And I guess probably your goal, Rob, generally is on the technology side and to make it efficient. But all these things just come as great byproducts, don't they, that enable the people to, the marketing people, the salespeople at the hotel, to actually generate additional revenue through efficient technologies.
Yeah, absolutely. More often than not now, we're not just meeting with IT and operational people at hotels. It's with marketing people as well. And sometimes, I'm sure people on the call may have experienced this as well, that sometimes the budget can be pulled from marketing in certain areas, and absolutely it supports that and helps create new revenue streams or increase those revenue streams. You know, as Miguel mentioned on the Ruckus Analytics, you can do an occupancy analytics you can use that tool on Ruckus Analytics, and it will tell you where certain people are congregating and where the hotspots are. We use it quite a lot in retail, but in a hotel as well. That's going to be quite useful. If there's a lot of people in a certain area during a check-in time, then you could send an additional member of staff to go and support them or something. So yeah, absolutely, it's definitely relevant to marketing. And as I said before, it's so much more than just Wi-Fi connectivity. It's about enabling all this other great stuff. One thing I was going to ask you, Miguel, actually, about you mentioned the air conditioning units are connected to the Wi-Fi. What sort of data do you get out of that? Does it give you sort of usage data per room?
So they are connected to the Wi-Fi, and then the maintenance department, they have their own software that can see if there's any AC offline, so they can then proactively go to the room and see, is it the unit on the wall, is it the actual AC motor that needs to be replaced? So it's kind of a preventive application that they can use for their servicing of the ACs in the bedrooms. But not also that, but also it's then interfaced with our Opera PMS. So if there's a checkout, the maid doesn't have to go to the room to switch off all the lights or to even switch off the AC, because this unit, the BMS unit in the room, controls all those peripherals inside the room. So when there's a checkout trigger on PMS, then the whole BMS system will tell the controller, please switch off the AC, please switch off the lights. And not only that, as I mentioned before, if there is a stayover guest, but they actually leave the room, when they remove their key, because we still have the key cards, this is something that with the remote check-in, we will be able to integrate the cards in the mobile phones as well. But we still have the physical cards, and once the card is removed from the holder inside the room, also tells the system, look, the guest is leaving the room. He's still checked in, but he's leaving the room. Let's just turn off the lights. Let's leave the AC on fan 1, for example. And then when the guest comes back in, they slot the key back on the holder, and the whole lights come on as they left it before, and the AC goes to whatever settings it was before they left the room. So this brings energy costs down, and we know that's how the prices are at the moment, and this really helps. And I've seen before on our finance annual review that we had sent by our director of finance, that this was a big improvement in the petrol expenditure of electricity bill.
That does actually answer one of the questions I've got here about, and I was thinking, will Miguel know if actually these energy efficiencies have saved money? But in this time of such increasing costs on utilities, I'm sure it would have done. But it ticks that box, which is a very important one from a financial perspective, but also the sustainability box is we're going along the path with that by not wasting all those energy supplies. And another comment, actually, when I think it was Rob, when you said something about sending along an extra member of staff if it's a busy check-in or check-out, it's brilliant to be able to give the guests choice, and they can do it remotely, presumably both check in and check out, and I think that's fabulous for the guests, because it depends on their frame of mind when they arrive, whether they want to engage or just desperate to get to their room and drop their bags and get on with whatever they've got to get on with. But it's wonderful that the guest has that choice, and that's something I always advocate through any IT installation. Don't force a guest to use all your technology, because some just won't want to engage with it, and others won't want to engage with people. And we just have to make sure we're looking after our guests from both perspectives. Keep the questions coming. Actually, anybody from who's listening in, if there are any questions, we will, as I say, try our best to answer them. Rob, sorry, I think I interrupted you there.
No. I was just going to say on the check-in thing. Yeah, I agree, because you go to certain properties and you have that option, and that's great. I mean, I went to a property recently, and I turned up just after a coach had turned up, and a whole group of people came out of the coach, and the check-in was I wasn't staying there, but I could just see it, and I could see how long you would have to wait to check in, and I know that particular property didn't have any kind of option to check in remotely or contactlessly. So I think having the option in certain types of properties is going to be, really, really important going forward. But then again, I would say, if you're staying in the really sort of high-end luxury properties, and the ethos of that hotel is going to be all around personalized experience, I should imagine that wouldn't always be the right thing for that type of property to do. So it's gonna vary, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. We are that's I think the Royal Garden Hotel fits in that particular personalized experience for each guest. But as you said, we might have a large group arriving, coaches arriving. There's 100 people checking in, or even for an event, everyone coming from an event. If there's not a hot desk just for that event, they will go to reception just to query. Look, where is this room? Where is that room? But if we can have a QR code on the front desk or one of the concierge desks. If you want to check in automatically, just scan the QR code and you'll be checked in. We also have connected to the Wi-Fi our CNE meeting screens. So we have some Samsung devices, TVs, display screens around our reception area. So if there's an event, there will be a list of events on that screen that can be updated by our CNE team, and they can say, okay, event XYZ. So let's say Ruckus Networks event is in hospitality suite or is in the palace suite -2 or something like that. So the guests will see that screen and they won't go to reception. But yeah, the remote check-in is something that is still not implemented in our hotel. We are looking into it. We will have meetings very soon with the partner to kind of in all essence go forward with it, because it's something that has been discussed with our front office manager, and he was very excited. It was something that he wanted to do before, and I think with 4 reception desks that we have and 394 potential guests coming in the hotel to check in, it will be a very good feature to have.
And someone's asked me, and I think you are going to be able to answer it. If it's on the remote check-in, does that mean you've got digital key, or you're getting down the road towards digital?
So we can the partner offers those 2 options. So you can have a remote key on your phone, which with our new door locks it is possible. But we don't know if we want to go ahead with that. But we will have then a special desk, which will just have to be handover keys. So the guests will come, they will show the QR code. That new dedicated desk will have all the keys for the online check-ins ready, and you just go there, scan your QR code, make sure that you are that person. We'll give you the bedroom key, and we'll take it from there, because not everyone has the latest smartphone. So they might not be able to have a smart key on their device. So we still need to think, what are we going to do if someone does a remote online check-in, remote check-in, but does not have a smartphone, because they might just do it on their laptop. So we will still have the feature of providing the physical key to those guests. So we are not removing the physical key at all for any of the guests. So we are keeping the physical keys.
Yes, I remember when Hilton did quite a big television campaign on using digital key, and I could be very out of date, so apologies to anyone from Hilton who's listening. I do remember hearing maybe a year or so later that the uptake had been absolutely minimal. There was next to no people using it for whatever reasons, and I'm sure there are good reasons, but there's lots of things that could go wrong there, aren't there, with relying on the digital key. But I guess it is going to be the way of the future. Right, sorry. Rob, have you got anything to add? I'm just going to read a couple of questions here. So if you can just talk for a bit while I read them, that'd be very helpful.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, carry on. So one thing, Miguel, I know that you've utilised or adopted since putting in the new network was the fire alarm system. I think that was quite interesting.
Yes, correct. So our fire alarm system is now also Wi-Fi integrated. So that enables key members of staff to receive alerts on their mobile device, which is also, let's say, indoors connected to the internet. But even if, I don't know, if they go out of the building for whatever reason and they are still connected to mobile data, they will still have this alert, which means that if there's a pre-alarm on any area, a kitchen, a bedroom, a public area, so those key staff members will receive a notification with a loud sounding on their phones saying there's a pre-alarm in this location, with the location, the smoke detector number, so they will know, let's say, restaurant 10th floor, smoke detector 4, and they can go there and they will see, is it a false alarm? Is this someone in the bedroom using a hairdryer? Is it someone smoking in the room? And they have that window, I think is 3 or 4 minutes to be able to check that. So whoever of those key staff members is closer to that location, they will go to that location. Another staff member will stay put by the next to the fire panel, and if it is a false alarm, they will deactivate, or else we'll have the full bells and whistles, and the hotel will go to evacuation. So this before, how it was before, we had pagers before, not so reliable really. They worked, but if you leave the pager on your desk when you go for lunch, or you didn't replace the AA batteries on your pager, and you didn't notice that the pager was off for X amount of days, yes, that will be a big issue. Now with the phones, everyone is carrying their phones everywhere. Phones are always with charge, and we have 6 people receiving this notification from the fire alarm system. So it really gives us that safety and that security in terms of, if we do have a pre-alarm, we can check before we go to evacuation mode, because with the large property, it is very difficult when we have to move the guests all out and then just say it's a false alarm and then how to bring everyone back in. So having this feature is great in terms of that, for the guest experience really, and for our health and safety as well.
Absolutely brilliant. Okay, that was really useful. One of the questions here, I think, Rob, is probably one for you to answer, and it could be something you want to come back on. But it's talking about personalization and how the Ruckus solution is enabling hotels like the Royal Garden, other hotels as well, really offer a personalized system to the guest, or a personalized service to the guest. Is that something you want to embrace now, or would you like to take that one offline?
Yeah, I think there's a few ways really. It's you have that network in place that's operating and working, and then it's about what kind of data and detail you can collect from your guests to try to begin to create a profile. I know there's lots of various other ways that hotels will be doing that, but stuff like I think Hilton and some of the major brands do it, Marriott and Hyatt, creating those profiles via the guest application that they're using, or the loyalty scheme. So knowing what temperature the bedroom should be, what that particular guest likes, whether they like to be on a high floor or a low floor, or have a what type of room they might like. Obviously that's going to depend on which room they book, and what lighting they have. I know some of the properties, Citizen M have a great solution there with the control from your smart device of what lighting you want, and you can save that, and when you next check in, it will be at the same levels, the same dimness, or the same color, or whatever it might be. So enabling that type of experience for a guest is certainly one thing I would say, which we're seeing quite a lot. Yeah,
I don't think you can get more personalized than that, actually. Sort of recognizing a guest on their return visit is that's what we all strive for, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, trying to create that I think the guest expectations these days, certainly for me, is that I expect to be able to do what I can do at home in a hotel room. And one of the big ones for me, and I think for a lot of people, I don't know what the uptake is on your casting solution, Miguel, but I really like to be able to cast when I go into a hotel room, Netflix or whatever I'm going to use on that particular day. I think that's something that's really quite key in certain types of properties, of course. So I think you need a very reliable solution to be able to do casting effectively. If you don't have a good solution, or you have black spots or issues with the network, then you're going to get problems, and then that's going to make the whole thing, the guest experience, which should be really great by doing casting, But then if that solution fails, then it makes the the experience worse than it would have been before having that solution. So that's why it's so key to have a really good network. Yeah. So yeah, that's certainly another thing as well.
Brilliant. And do people take full advantage of your TVs and whatever the facilities in the bedroom from the smart bedroom, Miguel?
Yeah, they do. They do on the analytics, as I mentioned before. We can see that. We can see the uptimes of the connections to the Chromecasts. We can see guests mentioning that they have used it. We can see from the marketing perspective as well that they can push content to those TVs as well. So we not only have the Chromecasts on the TVs, but we also have QR codes for our menus for guests to be able to order food and see the actual dishes. So we have the traditional list of what we can offer the guests in the bedrooms, but on the TV we have also the pictures of the dishes, which actually upsells a lot the F&B. But yeah, the Chromecast was a feature that it was a long time to be installed. We really want, the guests were requesting it since day one that I've joined. There were multiple reports. We didn't bring a PlayStation, we didn't bring an Apple TV. We just want to cast from our phone, and then we had to have cables, and the guests will have to put their phone hanging under the TV and all sorts of situations. But since we installed the Chromecast, it's so seamless. You scan the QR code. Automatically your phone connects to the TV, and it's just seamless process, and the guests can use all their apps. They can mirror their device screen, or they can just open an app and cast it to the TV. And this is something that we couldn't do before, and the guests are using it definitely, and they are very happy with it.
Right. Well, it really does seem that the Royal Garden, along with Ruckus, are getting closer to that sort of idyllic hotel of the future that we've all talked about for so many years. But that does bring us pretty close to the end of our time. I think we've managed to answer all the online questions. If there are any more, then please do come back to me or directly to Rob or Miguel. I can forward anything on, or you can contact them directly if you already have their details. But thank you both very much. I think we've covered a lot in a really short space of time today. I would love to introduce you to either of the experts today, to those delegates listening. If you do want any further information or want to talk directly to either of them about the experience or what Ruckus can offer. Something I always say on our webinars is please remember that the opinions today are exactly that. They are opinions and should be treated as such. If you need formal advice, then please do approach your professional advisors directly, or come to me for a recommendation or a referral. Do take a look at our website for our upcoming events. The most important one, in my mind at the moment at least, is our annual conference, which is on the 16th of November at the Royal Lancaster Hotel in London. We call it HOSPACE, Hosper's Conference and Exhibition. Rob and his colleagues from Ruckus will definitely be there, and hopefully Miguel and other people from the Royal Garden and plenty other of lovely hotels across the UK will be represented from a technology perspective, finance, revenue management, marketing, all sorts of commercial decision-making people across the UK and sometimes further afield attend that conference. So it's a great opportunity to say hello to people in person. As I said at the beginning, we are recording this webinar. So this one and a recording of all our historic webinars and masterclasses with a summary of key points, with most of them, are hosted on hosper.org. So please do take a look there to have a look at this in about a week. Hopefully we should have it there, and previous webinars as well. But that takes us very close to 11:10. Thank you all very much for listening, but thank you especially to Rob from Ruckus and Miguel from the Royal Garden Hotel. Much appreciated. Thank you all very much.
Thanks so much, Jane. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.